Autoweb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Autoweb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy. Melvin, you see that right there? That's commitment, fam. That's what $50 million looks like. You know what I mean? When you make $50 million, you have a VW on your ass watch. You know what I mean? So this is SVB and the place to be, and I got my co-host today is Tianna Mick, aka T Got Your Keys. Say what's up, T.
Hey everyone.
All right. So now we have a special guest, man. Melvin is a really good friend of mine, Melvin Rodriguez. Melvin, you are the GSM of Burlington Volkswagen. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. So talk to us, Melvin. Tell us a little bit about your background. Like, how long have you been in the automotive industry, and how did you come up in the industry?
I've been in the automotive business probably over 25 years. I started really in the rental car business, leasing through Alamo Rent-A-Car. I would, working the desk, and I met when Kia, out of all brands, came into the market. I met a gentleman that was at a convention in Colorado, and we got to talking at the airport. And he was like, "You would be great for the in automotive sales." And so, make a long story short, he connected me with a dealer back home. I was in Colorado then. I had just got out of the military. And
what branch of the service?
I was in the Army.
Yeah, much respect. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you. And I ended up moving back home and still stayed a little bit with rental car and leasing. And then one day, I saw somebody's paycheck, and I was like, "Wait, I want that paycheck." and I went on the floor. I think it was Valentine's Day, February 14th, so a short month, and I sold I think 22 cars, and the rest is history.
So, what's the most amount of cars you sold on the floor?
On the floor, I sold 39 cars one time.
Woo! Do you know something? You beat me. The most I ever sold was 33. I used to average about 30 cars a month. My top month was 33. So, wow, 39 cars, bro. You couldn't crack 40? What's up, Mel?
I couldn't, bro. I couldn't.
I'm only messing with you. And neither could I, apparently. So, man, but I'm going to say this, though. Like, when you sold cars and you sold 39 cars, what year was that?
That was in 2009.
Really? Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I started selling. I became a manager, and then I took a break from managing, and I went to that was at a single point, like a used car lot. It wasn't even a franchise.
Holy crap! So you must have made big bank when you sold 39 cars.
It was a nice paycheck.
So, all right. But follow me. That is 2009.
Right.
In 2021 going into 2022, that's like dog years. There's so much more technology with video, with BombBomb, with social media, with all this stuff. If you sold 39 cars like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like primitively, you know what I mean? In today's day and age, with what you know now, how many cars do you think you'd be selling, a month on the floor if you really were trying to sell cars nowadays?
You know what? I thought about that, Sean. I think that, had I seen the future, the technology, dealer synergy, et cetera, I would say that I would be with Cody and with Frank and Eddie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. And what's that like? Because I never knew anybody that because we sell in New Jersey. You know, like I worked at Pine Belt, I worked at Weissler, Lincoln Mercury Mazda, I worked at Cherry Hill Nissan. You know these stores. These are good stores, but nobody there was selling 100 cars a month. I never even heard that was possible. So what's that like for you to know that people like Frank Cornetti or Cody Carter, Ali Rita, these people exist?
It's amazing, Sean, that the fact and I, you know, if we had more people with that drive in the business, all those guys are doing is branding themselves. They're getting that cup of coffee at Wawa and making sure that that person that at the register knows that Cody sells cars or Frank or Melvin, and the referrals. And, you know, I try to implement some of that stuff with some of the guys, but, you know, not everybody has the same drive. I still have personal customers. I'm still connected with the family of my first customer ever.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I sold, he passed away, but his family, I still sell them cars.
That's
You know,
amazing. How many years ago was that you sold
that
his?
was in 1993.
Wow, I was a junior in high school back then.
Stop it. Stop it.
So, man, I got so many things I want to ask you. So, in all these years that you've been in the automotive industry, it's obviously changed, but it hasn't. Like car sales is car sales. It's still a people business. You still have to, you know, speak to people, build a rapport. What do you think, if you could just simplify car sales, how would you explain car sales to be successful in it to the average person?
I, if I were to simplify it, I would say that people need to, you know, and salesmen need to stop trying to sell cars and trying to, you know, sell interest rates or rebates or whatever, and just sell yourself. And the people that I have the most success is the people that love me, the people that walk into the dealership and goes, "Where's Melvin? I only want to deal with Melvin." And they say, "You know what? What do you want to do? Whatever Melvin says, that's what we'll do."
Yeah,
And
you know what, Melvin, that's what Ali Retta says is relationship selling instead of transactional selling.
that's
When you
it.
just up people, that's a transaction. There's no emotion. Price is only that's where price is relevant, and you can't really gross because it's clinical, it's sterile. But to your point, if you build a rapport, and when somebody says whatever Melvin says, that's powerful. That's important. So what advice do you have? How do you get somebody to teach that? How do you teach that to new salespeople?
It's a process, and it's, you know what, the younger salespeople, the younger people that are coming in, are in a mode of instant gratification of, you know, click, 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 and they think it's over. And listen, you know, people that, you know, I took an up yesterday because we were busy and I didn't have enough salespeople. And guess what? The first thing I did was sit down with the people, and they're in the military now. So I learned about them as much as possible in 5-10 minutes, and build that as quick as possible, a relationship where now we become friends. Now we're at a different level. Now I'm going to give you advice on not a price or a car, but that, listen, anybody can go on the internet and find out everything about a car. Half the customers that come in know more than the salespeople. It's giving them advice on, hey, would you buy a car from a friend? Would I guide you the wrong way? No, I'm gonna help you through your journey and make sure you get taken care of. And people love that. People just love that you're taking care of them. And price goes out the door.
So what do you look for when you're hiring a sales professional?
Um,
Besides the personality, of course.
these days, you know, just about anything. But you know, you know, somebody that definitely a team player, because I think the more this business gets into, you know, everything is done online. These guys need to help each other, because there's guys that are just not as good as others. Personality obviously is a big factor. But being, I think, transparent is a very big. Customers love that now. That if you listen, and I told a customer, a couple of days ago, it was a business deal, and they asked me how did I arrive on the price, and I said I'm making a profit, and I'm allowed to make a profit. I said, and I turned around and said, listen, you guys are a big company. Do you guys work for free? No. Okay. I don't either. I have 4 or 5 other people here that depend on how much money I bring in to get paid. I got a phone that I got to pay for, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So, if you're transparent with the customer and you present it properly, the word profit is not a bad word.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
So Tianna, coming from this, because you were on the floor and you were a female salesperson, I want to have your perspective. First of all, before I turn it over to Tianna as the co-host here, how many female salespeople do you have on your floor?
None right now.
How many Spanish-speaking salespeople do you have on your floor?
1.
Okay, 1. So again, do you want more females on your floor?
Absolutely. I had one very good. She's out on maternity leave, and I don't know if she's coming back, but I think women in the automotive business, it's a grand slam.
So T, what advice do you have, for Melvin? He's a high level GSM at Burlington VW Volkswagen, and he doesn't have any females. How do you find and recruit females to your dealership?
I mean, just personally knowing that the car business is a male dominated industry, I feel like you just have to put out those specific ads. We're looking for, strong, business women to lead our sales floor into the new generation of, what business and, the car sales is going to be. Just because I think since it is predominantly a male dominant industry, I think you do have to be specific like that, unlike other areas of, the business field. But if you're looking specifically for sales women, then I think you should definitely promote, reach out, different Facebook groups and even events at your dealership targeting women as well.
See, I actually like that, because here's the thing is, Melvin, because Rodriguez, you don't sound like you come from a Polish family, right? You sound like you come from, it sounds like you're a Latino, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So again, there's nothing wrong or inappropriate for saying we're looking to hire bilingual employees. We're looking to hire Spanish-speaking employees. That's okay to ask for, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So then, to Tianna's point, specifically saying that you're looking for car sales women, not just car salesmen. I'm not saying that you don't, but I like that. If we keep doing what we're doing and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. But if you want female employees, maybe we need to change the bait and change the ad message and the creative to specifically say we're looking for automotive sales women. And like you said, is find where automotive women go to. As far, I'm not a business-minded, women, career-minded women, whether it's colleges, it's the student centers, it's the job fairs, it's the unemployment office, and specifically start to target and market to recruit towards female employees. I think that, have you done that yet? Have you specifically tried to recruit women, not just because you're looking for women, but your ads, your creative, your strategy has been for women, or no?
No, I have not. But guess what? Tianna brings up a good point, and I am going to try that, because I I believe, and I've worked with a couple of women in the automotive business, and they are great. I've had nothing but success with the 3 or 4 women that I've worked with in the automotive.
Brother, look at my girls. Both my daughters. You know what I mean? I feel like one of those Arabian kings that auction off their daughters. I'm only kidding. You know what I mean? Again, both my daughters are car beasts. I mean, like her sister is at RK in Vineland selling 20 cars on the floor. My nephew, you know what I mean? Like he is grossing, but he doesn't have that volume yet. You know what I mean? My daughters have had the volume and the gross. So I think that women, you know, that given the opportunity will definitely, you know, crush it because there's not enough women in automotive. But I'm glad that you're receptive to that. But here's my only advice too is this: you should probably have a female do the ad. I mean, you should have a female do the ad, and maybe it's that woman that's on maternity leave. Even if she was like, "Hey, just want to let you know we're hiring here at Burlington VW," and as a female salesperson, I can tell you right now, this is a great place to work at. So even if she comes back or not, I might call her in as a favor if I were you, and have her do an ad for you, you know,
Yeah.
as a female salesperson. And hell, I'm sure my daughter would have no problem, you know, shooting a quick ad for you as just as our friend. You know what I mean? Because I think that would, you know, go a long way. So T, as a female, what do you think is important? Like, why should somebody work at a dealership? An employee value package proposition is important, but as a female, what are things that are important to you working at a dealership?
I think it's the same exact things. It's money, financial freedom. I don't think it's different that it's because it is a female. I just think we need to target more in a female perspective. So like if somebody is going on maternity leave, then just say like, hey, you know, we need somebody, you know, to come in and help out because I am on maternity leave and this dealership appreciates that, because that even is something that, you know, some women would love to have at their workplace, let alone dealership. So
All right, see, Melvin, this is synergy, baby. We're making stuff happen live on the air right here.
I love it.
All right, cool. Okay, so let's go through that. Let's just get into it right now. Current climate. Like, first of all, man, like you like challenges, don't you? First of all, VW, with all the craziness they had, you know what? And I'm not saying thank God for the pandemic because that really touched people in the wrong way. But I mean, like, thank goodness that there's something to distract from the drama of VW corporate with all the craziness they went through legally and all that stuff. You had some challenges with the franchise, and it was already not a volume product. It was a very good product, you know what I mean? But you weren't selling cars like Toyotas, you know what I'm saying? So again, then on top of that, to have this pandemic, how is this inventory crisis? Has it hit you? Is there a chip shortage? What's the reality as a VW dealer?
Let me tell you, VW is a challenge. And I had Sean, you're probably going to be like, man, you do like challenges. You're nuts. Before I took this position, I had a pretty cushy job. I was a desk manager at a Kia store. Ooh. And I wasn't even the GSM. I was just doing deals. My job was to make money. And guess what? It was a great crew. We were making money, and the same owner owns this, you know, the opportunity came up and they're like, listen, this is a challenge. And let me tell you, a couple of nights I was like, you know, I stayed up thinking, man, what did I do? But guess what? With all the challenges, we're this pandemic and the inventory shortage and all that, it's made me better, and it's made the store better. I mean, right now, I mean, I'm not that guy to brag or whatever, but you know, we're probably going to crack 300,000 in gross, and not even, and with 75 cars.
Wow.
You know, and clean business. You know, we have 5 days to close out. We talked about it last night. Close out the month. My month is going to be closed on Tuesday. Like, I'm going to be done. You know. And it feels good to say that. It feels good that, you know, I should have 180 cars in stock. I have 65, you know? Yeah. So, you know, Roy talked about it today. We turned to CPOs. So we were doing 15 CPOs. We're going to do 25 this month. But guess what? We've adjusted. I've adjusted. Listen, today's my day off. And I came in. We've already had 5 cars sold for the day. because we had a lot of appointments gearing up for the end of the month for Memorial Day. And I think the state of the business right now for the guys that want and the women that want to take advantage and really consider this a career, not just a job, it's made us better. It's moved. And if we can continue this process and this momentum when we do get inventory and when the masks come completely off, I think that, George, Caceres said it, a couple of days ago on Clubhouse, that he sees the future of this business having, some really great years coming up. And I think he's right.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, Tim Cox from CarNow, and we would love the privilege and honor to be able to partner with you, our dealer partner, and show you why we continue to be the most awarded communication and digital retailing platform in automotive. What's the buzz about? We'd love to show you why. Please click the link below and let's partner together.
So it's interesting that you bring that up. I'm going to segue to this. I have, I just interviewed earlier today a friend of ours, Charlie Kearns. And Charlie Kearns, he's hysterical. And Charlie was talking about that right now, dealers are flush. I mean, they're making all the wood, and there's a lot of money to be made. Like you just said, you're cracking $300,000 on 75 cars at a VW dealership. That's freaking strong. But he hopes that this is sustainable. Do you really think, and I don't want to lead you with that question, but do you really think that this is going to last, like the grosses like this and the closing rates? Because he said he's closing like 65% closing ratio. The people that are coming into the dealerships, if there's inventory, not only are they buying cars, but you're making all the money. So do you think that this is going to sustain? Because it's never been like this.
I don't think it's going to stay like this, but I think, gross is a state of mind. And I think that
wait a minute. I'm gonna jump in here for a second. So, you're gonna tell me that before this inventory crisis and the pandemic, you were having the same exact grosses? They're not up?
No, they're up. But gross, it is the state of mind.
I know, but if it's a state of mind, then why weren't they this high beforehand?
I'll tell you why. Because you had other dealerships that, especially with the Volkswagen the new car product, that in order to compete, to turn and earn inventory, you'd have to take some short deals,
right?
To get, But I think that if we can continue to grow with the certified pre-owned and get the guys on the floor and the ladies on the floor to keep thinking the way they're thinking now. Listen, it's not going to stay where it is. I'd be a dummy to say that, but I think we can stay at a level where it's going to make an impact. It's going to be
I understand better now what you mean, and I agree. I don't disagree at all. I absolutely agree. You're right, because when everybody's mentality is race to the bottom, everybody's mentality now is hold gross, turn deals away because inventory is shortage. So what you're saying is that when stuff does level out and inventory comes back, people are not going to want to go back to scraping the barrel because they got used to the good grosses and making that stupid gross. So, but you know what? Some knucklehead is going to be a knucklehead and just start racing towards the bottom again. But I think you're right. That makes a lot more sense. I agree with you in that sense. So how long do you think it's still going to be good? Like this, like just stupid right this, like another 90 days, 6 months?
June is going to be June is going to tell us a lot. I think June, because a lot of guys, we're lucky and blessed that we have some inventory. That it'll take us through June, but there's guys that I know that have 10 cars, and they have, they usually do over 100 cars. So they're just, the trucks are pulling up and they're selling the cars. So probably, 90 days. But I think that, if we continue to work the deals the way we are now, even if there's a knucklehead that goes to the bottom of the barrel, if we can get the people to work on, continue to improve and showing the customer value and showing the customer why it's better to buy a car here, selling the dealership, selling, a friendship, a relationship, I think we can still keep the grosses up, not where they're at, but better.
I love it. T, questions?
No, I don't have any questions for him.
D, you're the co-host here. You got to turn around and figure questions out. That's part of being a co-host. I'm trying to train her to be a co-host. So again, say again.
That's cool.
So, but here, Tianna, when you were working at dealerships, you had some good experiences, but you had some frustrating experiences. Can you name some of those? T?
I mean, probably the, frustrating experiences is what everybody deals with on a day-to-day.
So share some of that, because I want to ask Melvin what the answers are. So see where I'm going with this? So go ahead. So what are some of the things that drove you crazy as a salesperson?
I mean, obviously, dealers undercutting you, that's always, because, like we were talking about, we're trying to hold growth and sell, value and not just trying to be the lowest number. And then it's hard when another dealership says, oh, I have the same exact car and I have it $100 cheaper. And then it's kind of like, okay, where do I go from there?
Okay, so Melvin,
and,
so
fitting into that culture.
Let's go right there. So Melvin, how do you handle that now? You know what I mean? Again, let's just say that you have a vehicle that's in stock for once, but yet somebody's saying that you get it cheaper somewhere else. How do you handle that?
You know what? Sometimes I'll tell you that some of the best deals that I've made are the deals that I say no to. Because I said no to a deal just for that reason, for $100, and I've turned around and 2 hours later sold it and made $2,000.
Wow.
So it's tough, because let me tell you, as a general sales manager and as a desk manager, if Tianna, I'll use you as an example. Excuse me. If I see you, all day long, you're making your phone calls, you're prospecting, you're in the service area, and you finally get a customer, and you work hard, and then $100, I'm going to say no. It's hard for me. I don't want to say no, not for the customer, for Tianna, for her attitude, she's going to, all day long, so I might take that deal just because I don't want her to go sideways on me. And then the next customer, she doesn't do a good job just because I passed on a deal that really she should have had. But there is times that I will say no to a deal just because, guess what? Customers will play you, and I want my salespeople to be stronger on building that. Listen, if you build a relationship strong enough with the customer and you build enough value, $100 is not going to stop them.
Right. No, but Melvin, I got to just tell you, I got to commend you. What you just said is very unique from what we normally talk about on interviews. And again, I know Tianna's felt the opposite of that, where, and a lot of salespeople feel like, God damn it, I just busted my ass, and then you're gonna fuck up my deal. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the managers go in and like you said, it blows it up. But I so appreciate you, Melvin, for saying that and saying it the way that you said it, that, even if it's a deal that you might normally not want to take, you might take it not for the customer, but you take it for the salesperson because you see how hard that they worked. And I got to tell you, that's commendable, because some desk managers, some GSMs don't give a shit about their salespeople or how hard they work to put it together. So talk to me about that mentality right there. How important is it that your people eat, your salespeople eat, and that their time is appreciated and things like that?
Sean, it's my responsibility. It's my for a salesperson with 2-3 kids that's working their butt off, it's my responsibility for that salesman to get a paycheck on Friday. It's my responsibility for that salesperson to provide for his family. So guess what? For me to have that salesman do what I need them to do, I'm going to do what I can to help them. Listen, I track the board. If I see a salesperson that's a deal or 2 deals away from hitting a second level bonus where it's going to change, the difference between making, a $500 bonus to a $2,500 bonus, I'm going to push them. I'm going to help them. I'm going to lead them as much as I can, because guess what? At the end of the day, it's my responsibility.
T, you as a salesperson hearing that, that's how it should be, right?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
At the very first Dealer eProcess keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
I think everything's case to case now. I mean, I have some people that don't want their sales, people even looking at the numbers or anything like that. Just kind of closed eyes, here's the numbers, go in, sell on value. So I kind of hear like combating stories. Some people don't kind of want, their people involved, and some people want, less involved. So.
That's awesome. But what I'm saying is like what Melvin just said specifically, do you like that philosophy of that he might take that deal because of how hard you work? I mean, as a salesperson, when you're driving an hour to work a bell to bell to, to go to work and then lose it over $100 has got to be demoralizing. So hearing a GSM say that that's a big factor in his decision-making process. Melvin, also unmute yourself because there's background noise. So when you're not talking, I'm just muting you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's preference, but I don't think there's an issue with giving somebody a deal because of confidence, and sometimes it's just that one that they need to kind of get the rest rolling. I've been in that predicament before where it's been a couple of days and I finally sell one, and all of a sudden deals come left and right, and it's unbelievable. So I've been in the same boat. So like I said, it has to be case to case, and so I agree with Melvin too.
Awesome. So Melvin, what would you say, let's transition this for the rest of the conversation here. What would you say are the biggest objections that you're getting right now from prospects, or your salespeople are getting from prospects?
Wow. Biggest objections right now. That's a good question. I want to say up to the last month or two with inventory, I would say the biggest was that people have too much information. A lot of customers come in and they're confused. They're almost like almost when you go to the grocery store and there's 20 different types of ketchup, and that goes back to what you were talking about at the beginning, simplifying things. So I think the biggest objection is, the so much information out there that consumers and prospects are confused and probably uncertain if they're making the right decision or not.
Okay. Now, how do you handle those situations?
Again, it goes back to relationships and value. And, I still to this day, give a customer my cell phone without thinking about it. I offer to, pick up their car. Listen, a couple of days ago, we were on Clubhouse and I got, jumped off. I was delivering a car to the principal of the Medford Middle School, to their home because of the schedule. So being different, offering, going the extra mile, that'll give you an edge on all the noise.
Why do salespeople got to overcomplicate the situation?
That's a great question. And I tell them that all the time. You know what it is? I think that it's hard for a lot of salespeople to just simply follow the steps and come to the desk and listen and follow. And I think they try to go one step ahead of instead of just, listen, let's cross this bridge and then we'll get to the next one. We're not going to get to that next bridge until we cross this one. And I think they try to fly before they can even crawl.
T, why do you think salespeople overcomplicate the situation?
I think some salespeople may be looked as an overcomplication because they don't understand the process fully. So they might say certain things and think a certain way because the process hasn't fully been explained to them. And maybe sometimes the manager forgets that they're just a salesperson. They weren't in your position with the years of experience you've been in. They haven't been told the same things that you have. And to be quite honest, to the salesperson, it goes back to the numbers. It's not always the most transparent to us. And so it's kind of hard trusting the desk, as much as a customer trusting us as the salesperson. So once it comes into that, I think sales managers need to remember that if you don't explain things to your people, they might see it as kind of shady or not trustworthy. And then they just complicate things because they don't know how to act because they haven't been in your shoes for as long as you have, if that makes sense.
Oh, Roy Davo just texted me. They overcomplicate because they don't trust their desk or don't really understand their process. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Roy. Isn't Roy a beast too, Melvin?
He is, man. Matter of fact, I got his number off of Clubhouse. I got to hit him up because I want to pick his brain about a couple of things.
Yeah, and so speaking of Clubhouse, like how do you feel like about Clubhouse and like you've been in the morning motivations and stuff like that? Like, what do you think about Clubhouse as a resource for you as a GSM?
I'm hooked.
Have you told your salespeople about the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, the Clubhouse, and all the free information out there?
Oh, I have, and we're actually doing a little presentation tomorrow in the meeting.
All right, good. So, Melvin, what about managers? Okay, because you're a GSM, and so to me, a general sales manager's job, it's a hierarchy. A general sales manager's job is to manage sales managers and hold the sales managers accountable, and mentor them so the sales managers could, manage the salespeople. So, what advice and what advice do you have for sales managers to be successful?
To training with the salespeople and learning as much as you can about the salesperson, so like as a desk manager, I work a deal probably completely different with every single salesperson just because I know them. I know what clicks, what button I can push that's going to help them, with the customer. So knowing your salespeople and, as a sales manager, that's a tough job because you're in the middle. You're basically in the middle. So you got to know a little bit about everything.
What would you say the biggest mistakes that sales managers do?
Wow. Not trained properly.
Okay. Kearns, when I interviewed Charlie Kearns, he said that they don't get in the deal fast enough. They wait too long to get into the deal. What do you think?
That's yeah. But you got to let the salespeople also do their job.
See, I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I wanted just your opinion on it. It's different styles.
Point. It's a good point. And, sometimes you don't have the personnel to do that, but you gotta give the salespeople enough rope that they, you gotta let them do their thing. Tianna said something earlier about trusting, the desk and trusting the manager, trusting the salesperson, and that's tough, because I've gone into deals where I've asked the salesperson, did you ask this? And, oh yeah. And I go in and I get a different answer. So, that's a good point. Probably going in, waiting too long to go in is probably the right answer.
Okay, I'm going to throw you for a curveball here, but it's something
Oh,
we
boy.
talked about before. No, it's important.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hundreds of dealers have switched to VinQ in 2020. For a limited time, VinQ will match any special trial offers the other guys are throwing out there. With VinQ, replace 5 systems with one solution: market pricing, inventory management, wholesale and private party acquisitions, advertising, and reconditioning. Don't miss out on the chance for better data, increased churn, and higher gross per sale. Stop competing on price alone and start competing on value with VinQ. Request a live look at VinQ.com.
Because you see online, right? There's a lot of these people that are on Clubhouse or on Facebook, and the reason why they're on there is because their GM or dealer principal is either absentee, or they're a fucking asshole, or they're not involved. So what advice do you have for GSMs, which are high-level managers, but they don't own the dealership, and they're not the general manager, so they're at the top, but they still have 1 or 2 layers above them. Let's say you're not getting supported, you're not getting resources. How do you manage a team or lead a team when you don't have the support from executive managers or ownership?
I mean, you still got to treat it as your own business. That's how I look at it. I'm lucky that we have support. We work for a great company. But your
store is different. You've got a good group, but you guys have multiple stores. So we're not talking about you, but let's talk about the person that has a GM that's stupid, or a dealer that's absentee. And so there's things that you want to do. You want to incentivize. You want to do a team building thing. You want to buy training, or you want to do this and that, and you can't because your hands are tied. So again, not you, brother. I'm saying,
Sure.
What advice do you have for people other than quitting and going to a real dealership? If they're there, how do they handle their hands being tied?
You can only control what you can control. So you got to do the best you can with what you have. And at the end of the day, what you do is going to result in your paycheck and in the outcome. So, it's a shame that if people like that probably need to look, on the other side. But if you don't have support, you just got to deal, basically play the cards that are dealt.
So basically focus on what you can control and not worry about the shit you can't control. So if you're one of those people that are listening to this, we get it, man. That's one of the reasons why I don't work in a dealership, is because my hands were tied, I felt, and I just got tired of it. So I started my own thing. But if you are at a dealership, you've got to realize that it's not you. You might not be the crazy one. You might not be the one that's unrealistic. You know what I mean? You just have to deal, like Melvin so eloquent said, deal the cards that that you've been dealt. And that means just do the best that you can. Try to MacGyver stuff. Try to figure things out. Try to jury rig it, if you will. You're gonna have to do what you do, but you can't give up. The show must go on. Is that right?
That's right. Roy said it. FTOFO, right?
Where do you think Roy got it from? FitFo. That's for me, baby. So Roy, you better not claim it, or else there'll be a whole nother Facebook.
I'm going to do a whole post about that.
Yeah, that Roy Davila didn't say FitFo. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But you know what? I've been talking about FitFo for 20 plus years when I was in the Army Reserves and RTC, and I know, I didn't invent FitFo. I just been talking about it for 20 plus years. So, okay, well, Melvin, I know that it's the end of the month, literally the end of the month, and you got to close out your month. You got to, sell stuff, and help your people. But, I really, really appreciate you, because not only are you very good at what you do, you're a good person. You've got good mojo with you. I mean, you try to help people, you try to be kind, and you try to give information. So I want to give you this opportunity to say to the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to listen to this, for real, what do you want to leave them with? What do you want to say, your whole career, and not just your automotive industry career, but, just in life, as an adult, you've learned a lot in and out of the dealership, and what have you learned, on this planet so far, professionally and personally, you'd like to leave with our audience?
I mean, it's a small world. Just take care of people. Take care of people. What goes around comes around. Listen, I'm not perfect, but I'll tell you what, I give you 150% when I crack the door, and you said it. Control what you can control and do the best at it. And I want to get better at what I do. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, but I want to learn it. That's why I listen to, Clubhouse or Facebook shows and I want to get better. I want to be able to handle, if I miss a deal yesterday, I want to, in my head, why did I miss that deal and what can I do better when that comes up next time? So,
Melvin, that's amazing because you're leading by example. If I had a GSM that was on Clubhouse and the Millionaire Car Salesman Club and Facebook, the Millionaire Car Sales Group, listening to podcasts, being on podcasts, that would influence me. I'd be like, wow, my boss is really into this information education stuff. Maybe I should check it out too. And so that's how you get to influence people, is by your direct actions. So I think it's awesome. I do have one last question then, based on what you just said. I love it. If you could go back, and this is like a go-to interview question, but it's a good one. If you could go back and tell Melvin, 20 years ago, something or a couple things, what would you tell Melvin then with what Melvin knows today?
Stay a salesman.
Really?
Yep.
I love it. That's awesome. Now, I respect that. Hell yeah, like Cody Carter and
oh my goodness, yeah, you don't worry about anybody but yourself. I'd have a little corner somewhere, making big bucks.
I love it. T, any last closing questions for our guest?
How do you keep killing it?
Just get up with a good attitude every day and listen to Motivation with the Real Millionaire.
Ooh, multi, baby.
Who's that? Who's that? I don't know who that is.
A little plug there.
Thank you. All right, everybody. This is SVB, and the place to be, and the place to be is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. We've been burning up your airwaves on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeart, and everywhere that podcasts are. And shout out to our amazing sponsors, Autoweb, CarNow, VinQ. Again, Dealer E-Process. These are amazing companies. We appreciate you. All right, Melvin, I salute you, my king. Take care, all right?
Thank you.
All right, take care.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tianna Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Dealer E-Process, VinQ, and Autoweb, and CarNow. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.